Good evening and welcome to this another edition of the Republican Debate. The Republican Debate is on the Republican television with Republican panelists. And of course, it's another special edition because we have men of substance, men of caliber, and equally men of timber. Well, with us, we have the Vice Rector of the University of Yaoundé too. They call him Professor Edmond Bilowa. Prof, good evening and welcome to the Republican Debate.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to all viewers of Camp 10. Good evening to my co-panelists.
How is the Prof today?
I'm doing fine.
How is your party, the CPDM?
Well, I guess my party is doing fine. We don't have a lot of activities these days. So.
Well, the Prof, it's a pleasure for us to have you again in the program today. Equally with us in the panel, we have, of course, Prince Ejede. How are you, sir, of the PAP party?
I'm very fine. Good evening, Mr. Clarkson. Yeah. Good evening to the millions of televiewers of Camdis Television, especially the Republican Debate. As I always say, I'm always happy to be in the Republic. Good evening to the fellow panelists. I'm happy to be here once more.
He is in the communication unit of the Ministry of Mines. He is here with us. He is a journalist. They call him, of course, Linus Otoko Trezor. Linus Otoko, good evening and welcome to the Republican Debate.
Good evening, Clarkson Tabi, and good evening to millions of televiewers of Camp 10. Good evening to subscribers of the Republican Debate Online, and we hope to have an interesting debate tonight.
An interesting debate. We are starting, of course, with our first topic. We are talking about the public independent conciliators appointed by the President of the Republic of Cameroon, that is His Excellency President Paul Biya. So what will change after these appointments? We are talking about the Northwest and the Southwest regions. We know that of course, Simon Tamfo-Fai was appointed in the Northwest, while Dorothy Atabong Epos Mutazi was equally appointed in the Southwest region. Can we say with these appointments that everything, what will change, Prof, with these appointments in the Northwest and Southwest regions?
Well,
will things come back to normal?
Well, you know that is a new position. You know, the regional councils are being put in place. They just got their budget, and these two new conciliators were just appointed by the President of the Republic. It's going to take some time before they start working. Well, what is going to change? At least now, people know where they can.
Yes.
They know where they can bring their complaints. They know where they can send their suggestions, their remarks, their observations about the way things are being run in the region, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen. Normally things should change. Normally things should change because it has been noticed that sometimes it's very difficult for the grassroots people to voice their concern. But now they know that there is an office that is in charge of, you know, taking their concerns, taking their complaints, their remarks and observations, go and discuss with the regional executive, discuss with the state, and so on and so forth. So basically, we expect things to change for the good and for the better.
You are very optimistic that there will be something will change in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Are you also optimistic, Prince Ejede?
Mr. Clarkson, I wish to say that if I tell your televiewers or the televiewers of this wonderful program that I'm optimistic, it means I'm failing myself. I'm not saying the truth to myself. I am not optimistic. Why? Because you need to understand that the public independent conciliators that have been appointed today, they are coming as a result of to implement the special, as a continuation in implementing the special status that that was being given by the government, which was one of the resolutions of what they had in Yaoundé of the major national dialogue, which we realized that the major national dialogue itself was a failure, and the major national dialogue being itself a failure, we don't see how the implementation of the special status today can help solve the Anglophone crisis. Now, what I would try to say, if you read the general code of regional and putting in place regional and local authorities, you realize that the special status itself is empty. There is no roadmap as to what can implement the special status. Mr. Clarkson, I believe that we are with a learned professor and the vice rector of the University of Yaoundé too here on this platform. I believe that you will also he will clarify televiewers for televiewers to understand, for them to know the roadmap that the special status is giving us for education, the roadmap for culture, the roadmap for health, the roadmap to farm, the roadmap for farm to market roads, the roadmap for the well-being of the population, the roadmap even for employment of the millions of youths who are in the northwest and southwest today, and is out of this unemployment that maybe some of them find themselves in the bushes. Now, I'll be coming to say that if you look at it, there's no roadmap. The law is just there, instituting it. Now, coming back to putting in place the public independent conciliators, which is as a result to implement the special status, you realize that the public independent conciliators themselves are being appointed by the President of the Republic. How can somebody, Mr. Clarkson, be independent and he's being appointed? It poses also a problem. So for that is why for us in the Popular Action Party, we have always thought that the problems in this country cannot be solved with the empty special status that they thought they gave the Anglophones in solving.
So the appointments of these two will not bring any change.
The appointment will not bring any change. One, because in it appointing these people, these people would be serving by the person that appointed them. So for us, we thought that it needed to be a mechanism where even if they were to implement it, the people needed to be voted by,
not appointed by.
There would have been a mechanism where some people of high integrity, moral, and we are even proposed that such people could be even jurists, lawyers of high caliber that have served the integrity of this country, for them to be appointed in such positions. Okay. So for all this, we are seeing that it is something that will not going to work, because the special status, which is they want to use to implement their decentralization process, which is not a solution to the Anglophone crisis, I don't believe will give a solution to what the people of the North and Southwest are clamoring.
Linus Otoko, Simon Tamfufai, and Dorothy Atabong, Epous Mutaze, do you think that those two personalities can help change things in the Southwest and Northwest regions?
As implementators of change, I'll be radical. I'll say no. Why no? I tried to play a game since morning, since I had the title, the themes we are to debate on, and I typed the profile of particularly of Simon Tamfufai, and what came out from my Google was a person of high integrity, yes, but mostly known in the oil and gas sector. I know, in the oil and gas sector, is part of business, is the mining sector. It's a liquid mine, precisely. Litigation at times in these sectors can be very harsh. At least you have had a little bit of glimpses with the rising tension Cameroon has with sundowns at the International Litigation Chamber. It can be very harsh at times. So that is somebody who has actually touched that kind of tension. But now, when I read the job description of the public conciliator, there will be a problem. There will be change, yes, but not immediate. It can take many years with these people appointed. Why? Because in the analysis we make of their requirements by the law, they are to play some sort of a lift between the people, the grassroots, the regional councils, and the President of the Republic. It's as if I appoint you today and I tell you, okay, tell me what you are going to do. You are now to sit and even to define your work from the word go. At the same time, playing the cupbearer of the people. They want this. You go and meet the regional council and depend on their whims and caprices if at all they record it. And at the same time, you need to forward it up and say, Mr. President, this budget you send by our regional council for the people maybe of Loom Village, example, it will not tie for them. You need to send it, but through this way, you see that the work becomes very, very long and elastic. And we know one of the blames we have been giving the administration is bottlenecks. Before you reach up, before a solution can come, I will tell you, if I can define the people appointed, I will tell you these are the sacrificed. Because after 2, 3, 4 years, a balance sheet will be drawn of them, but they'll have no results.
But looking at our profile, do you think that the right people are the right place?
Right people are the right place. I will say, let us see the builder on the wall.
It's true, Mr. Professor Edmond Bilowa, it's true that they were appointed by the President of the Republic. Is that a problem? Because he was talking a while ago that it was better for them to be voted than appointed.
But the councillors have already been voted. So in any case, you see that in some places people are appointed by, or they are proposed by the President of the Republic, and then the Senate decides on whether or not they can take office. And once they are there, they do what they want. We have seen that time and again. So it's not certain that just because they have been appointed by President Paul Biya, they will be there working uniquely for President Paul Biya. It all depends on what how they consider their job, what is their background, if they are independent minded, and so on and so forth. So we can't say right now that they are not going to do anything. It also depends on the context. And right now, I think that if they are good patriots, they should keep in mind that the Cameroonian people, and especially the English-speaking population, is expecting a lot from them. So they should be there to try to leave a name in the history of Cameroon. But now you see, they are just going to play the linkage between the regional council, the state, and the grassroots population. Okay, and it's a very ungrateful job, because you make proposal, you bring up to the powers that be what the complaints, the remarks, and the observations of the grassroots people are, but you are not certain that the power that be will act effectively to solve the problem of the people down there. You understand?
Are you doubting the objectivity?
No, I'm not doubting their objectivity. I'm saying that it does not depend so much on them for the government to solve the problems. It does not depend so much on the public independent conciliators for the executive or the regional council to take into account what they bring as problems. So they can do their best, and yet the regional council and the state will not solve the problem, and that will not be their fault.
Just a jingle before we come back. A jingle, please. Gov says that if there are people of good faith, we are talking of Simon Tamfufai and Dorothy Atabo, if there are people of good faith, then the examination will be okay in the northwest and southwest regions.
Mr. Clarkson,
it depends on good faith.
Mr. Clarkson, I don't know why we shall continue in this country to make Cameroonians to continue living in the situation that Cameroonians are living today. This problem is about solving a historic problem. It is about solving a problem where people are dying already in the northwest and the southwest now for 5 good years. No solutions. And these are the solutions that you said you took in solving these problems. So it is not a matter of appointing. It would have been a mechanism where, because if we look at the historical part of it, we realize that the northwest and the southwest regions are a people whom they inherited the legal system of the common law. They are people who were very used to doing their activities themselves. And so today when you come in and appoint people of whom their profile is not even well known in the society,
the fact that they're not popular is a problem.
It is a very big problem. It is a very big problem. It's a very big problem. I think what Prof was saying here, I think I could abide to that. I think the President of the Republic would have even endorsed, sent these people to Parliament for them to be endorsed before them being going to take office. I'm telling you, because if today we come in and then we are saying that the independent conciliators are coming to change anything in the northwest and the southwest, it's not true.
Linus Ochoko, you have a problem with their profile, is that?
Yeah, personally, I have a problem with their profile. You know, we are talking of an independent conciliator here, and for the little history, the idea of public independent conciliator comes from the fact that it was admitted and known to all that the rising Anglophone problem came from disgruntlement that exploded once at the face of the government. And so they needed somebody to gather them, to select these rising tensions from the base and then forward them up. And for people to air their problems, to empty their stomach, as we say, it needs people who are popular at the base. I'll take you a simple example. It is true the person is of blessed memory. Now imagine we had the same problem here in Yaoundé, and we decided that okay, our spokesman will be Charles Atebayine. Who doubt him? Nobody, right? It is true, it's of late. But now, if we decide that okay, by power of appointment we are taking this former minister there, who will trust him? Obviously nobody. And so if we had taken people who were popular at the base, I'll not go far. We have the late Archbishop, if he was alive. If we take him as public independent conciliator for the Northwest, everybody will be okay with that, even the guys in the bushes. Now, if we decide to do the same, like for the Southwest, we say, okay, Barrister Nico Hale is a person known at the base. Or let's say even Aya Paul Abine. Everyone will be okay with that. And I tell you, I bet you here that the people down in the grassroots will air their problems to these ones. Why? Because by virtue of their popularity at the base, they have had some actions that has given them that popularity. A hero is not self-appointed.
And the credibility.
But that is where the problem is.
Okay. So you are saying that they are not popular and it's a problem.
Personally, I discovered those names by that day. I had never known them before.
And nothing will change in terms of the situation
Even
going on.
if there is a change that is to come, Mr. Clarkson, there will be a problem. One, before I can tell you my problems, what I have, my disgruntlement, I need to trust you. And when there is no trust, who will air the problems? And when the problems are not aired, what will they carry up? Again, when they carry up, do they have the power to implement the solution?
No, they don't.
So obviously,
They can only carry.
it's a bag of air.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mr.
It's an empty bag of air.
Mr. Clarkson, I also wanted to make mention that I was not I was not comfortable like debating on the names. But if we want to come in on the names, is a pulse motazé not posing a problem? it is a post Motaze not posing a problem.
No,
Look,
are you sure that
she's not related to the minister?
Are you sure
no,
that
no, wait, no, see, no, I've not called any name here. When I say
Even the husband is not related to the
no,
minister.
wait, no, see, well, if look, see the name Atabong, is it Atabong,
Yes,
right? The name
yeah.
Atabong speaks well,
Yes.
but when you take a name which is a Pouls Motaze, the name Motaze, of which we are wanting to solve a crisis of which we know the reasons of this crisis. That the reason of this crisis, one of the fundamental reasons of this crisis is the interference of some names, some cultures in the Anglo-Saxon subsystem. And then if you call a Pouls Motaze, is it not also posing a problem? No.
Are you asking that person to
No, I am asking.
It's a rhetorical question.
I will not know how to answer that. Because Motaze could be somebody from the northwest or the southwest. Just like Tabi.
Yes.
We have Tabi in the center here and Tabi in the northwest.
No,
So we don't know. But I know for a fact that is not related to Minister Motaze, because I asked the question. And people from Motaze's family, the minister, told me no. He has nothing to do with us.
It's good. So you react when you ask that question because
Okay.
you thought that the
I'm sure that many people did ask the same question.
Exactly.
Let's welcome Anong Jacobs. Anong, good evening.
Good evening, Clarkson. Good evening, Noble Minds. And I think it's a pleasure joining you people. I'm sorry for coming late. I pleaded last time that we should do a ritual for me to for coming late. Always late.
Okay, we are talking the public independent conciliators. A good thing, the appointments of these two for the Northwest and Southwest?
Yes, before I answer your question, I beg your pardon and that of the audience to acknowledge this gratitude and I think an express wish that I'm sitting on the panel with my professor, Professor Imon Bilua, who taught me in the University of Yaoundé 1, and I'm very proud to have been formed by him in the University of Yaoundé 1 in several areas of life. I think it's a privilege, Prof.
Thank you.
Coming to your question, Clarkson, I think that we have sounded the solutions loud and clear. Many quarters in Cameroon have sounded the solutions to the Anglophone problem, and the permanent or whatever conciliators, I don't know what they call them, it's another quagmire. It's another quagmire. It's another hocus pocus that we have been talking about. It's an exact hocus pocus game. It gives the impression that all what the stakeholders have been speaking, all what international community have been speaking, all what even bona fide Cameroonians within the splitting party have been speaking, like my prof here, like the Mbelamokis, like the late Chief Mokete. I want to call names within the ruling party who have suggested workable solutions that can bring us out of this nuisance that is in our country today. The government, the governing class seems to be mute or seems to be bent to take us down the drain, down the abyss. This is another confusion. These guys are appointed by the President of the Republic. The Anglophone problem has, as part of its causes, the repeated negligence of the voice of the people. We want that independent voice that can speak, that is not appointed by the President of the Republic. So to say, it comes to a point where...
So it's a problem. The fact that they were appointed by the President of the Republic.
It's a serious problem. It's a serious problem. I think we would have become a bit constitutional. We would have gone a bit democratic. We would have gone a bit legislative. Where these guys would have been voted in parliament, and then at least, in fact, there is nothing even coming from that house even. It's a quagmire system. I don't know why we are even talking about it. There is no solution about it. There is no hope. There is no hope. There is no 2% hope of a solution that will come through the whatever conciliators and whatsoever.
Public independent conciliators.
There is nothing. To who are they answerable to? To who are they answerable to?
You are asking a question
The
to
President of the Republic.
The President of the Republic.
Okay.
They're not answerable to the wishes and the will of the people of Southern Cameroons. They are not. They are not answerable to the wishes of Cameroonians. They have to do all what they have to do and submit report where? At the presidency. And we know when things are submitted, then we know the solution of what has been happening. Nothing has come out good. The suggestions of Chief Mafani Mosonge, when he visited the Northwest and Southwest at the early stages of this crisis, when it was still a crisis before moving up to what we call today a conflict, What has come out of the suggestions? We saw him spoke to the people in the Northwest. We saw him spoke with the people of the Southwest, and came out with some tangible kind of findings. These findings have been submitted to the presidency, and one amongst them was that the people of Southern Cameroon yearn for a federal system of government. After that, we saw an implementation of a 24-year-old child decentralization. Decentralization is born more than 24 years old. 1996. It was brought up after that discussion. When they were mediatized discussions. Okay. Every Cameroonian is aware that we are playing with lives. I think it's high time we stopped all these games.
Okay, Prof, the fact that they were appointed by the President of the Republic, is it a mistake? Is it that we don't want things to move, to change?
Well, it could be a problem because you see, if you want somebody to represent the grassroots population, it would have been better for that person to reflect the wishes of the grassroots population. So a mechanism could have been found whereby maybe the public independent conciliator could have been an office where maybe half of the people in the office will have been elected by the people or by the representatives of the people,
Yes.
like the parliamentarian or senators.
Exactly.
And then half of the people could have been appointed. That way you could have had a balance.
Exactly.
The other thing I would like to say is that it is always good, once they start working, it will be good for the public independent conciliator to publicize whatever they are sending to the state or whatever they are sending to the executive of the region. Okay? So that the population can exactly monitor what is going on. It should not be a secret. If the public independent conciliator meets with the population and the population says we need X, Y, Z, and then the public independent conciliator sends a report to the President of the Republic, that report should not be a secret. It should be publicized so that the people can monitor the work of the public independent conciliator. We have to emphasize on the fact that the public independent conciliator cannot take decisions. Okay, he's a mediator. Okay, he's a mediator. He's somebody who takes care of the linkage between the population, the executive region, and the president of the state. In a sense, he's a facilitator. But that facilitator should have credibility. Okay. Now that he has not been elected by the population, it's going to be important what kind of steps he's going to take. If he behaves the way the population wants him to behave, he will have credibility. It all depends on him.
Okay, we are ending
Or
on
her.
this.
On him or her.
Okay,
Because in the Southwest
it's a lady with
I wanted to
we shall be ending on this topic.
no, because in another platform I made mention that because all the time when we usually make mention that maybe the special status is empty, maybe the thing is because we want to impose our political ideologies. I want to make mention that Chief Atem Ebako came out publicly on it was a caption on the Guardian Post on the 31st of May 2021, made mention that the special status is empty. I'm talking of Chief Atem Ebako. He's listening. That the special status is empty, and he was being challenged by the president of the regional assembly in the Southwest, Mr. Zakius, of which Mr. Zakius said Chief Atem Ebako has no right to come publicly to come out publicly. Now we are also posing a question whether it means that in the regional assemblies and in the regional assembly itself, people don't have the free will to excel their democratic principles and their democratic rights. It poses a very big problem. So that is what we are saying. That is what we are saying. That is why we are saying that it is better. It was better. Why are people afraid of federation in this country?
No, we shall be talking federation another day, please.
See, the idea of that came from the major national dialogue. For the time being, the independent status cannot be implemented because we don't know exactly what it means. Okay, so my understanding of it is that the regional councils are going to have to fill in that concept. For the time being, it's just a concept. And that concept was already in the 1996 constitution. But the executives and the members of the council are going to work and see how we can define what does it mean to be independent. What the independent status means what. For the time being, it doesn't mean that much. I agree with Prince Ejede. So we expect the regions to fill the gap and tell the government this is what the grassroots people in the northwest and the southwest region expects the independent status to be. Now, I want to say that people in the councils, in the regional councils, should not behave as the executives. And as a matter of fact, they are there to defend the interests of the people who elected them. Okay? If they believe that they have to defend the government at all costs, they are wasting time. It is a waste of time. But I'm very happy on the basis of what I saw in the South. When the regional council of the South was told that the budget is 3 billion, and many of them got up and said, but why should the executive tell us what our budget should be? We should be the ones to decide what our budget to be on the basis of the demands of the people, on the basis of what we want to do, on the basis of the programs that we want to put in place. That's the way, that's what we expect from the councils. We don't want the councils to be another executive of the state of Cameroon. We want the councils to be, the regional councils to be the councils of the regions of Cameroon.
Okay. Otoko, your last word on this first topic.
The issue is, those issues remain, like Professor was saying, these issues remain. We want both the executive and the conciliator to know that they are working for the people. We don't want them to argue over budget, because I have a whole decree of about 11 pages in this my phone talking of their heavy remuneration per session. It hovers between 600,000 CFA per individual.
Just to mention that it was a functional budget, it was
and
voted,
250,000.
not a developmental budget.
So all these sessions that you see them sitting, my brothers, we know why they are sitting. So we want them to work like that, to have that same zeal for the people. For the conciliator, like I said, it's just as if we decide today that we want everyone to go register himself at the local chieftaincy, and we produce a presidential decree appointing chiefs. Where will those chiefs have respect? That is where the problem is. We said we need a public conciliator. Technically, like the Bible says, a slave of the people. Do we appoint slaves? It is really an issue of shock. So, having appointed them, they should know that the work that is bestowed on their shoulders is the work of slaves. And so they must convince the people that they are their slaves. If not, at the end of the game, their hands will be empty.
Anong, we are concluding on this first topic.
I think it's evidently clear that up to now we have shootings and killings in the northwest. Although the councils have been put in place and they have been doing things and sending things up, I think that message is enough that that's not a solution. Not even the permanent conciliator, public conciliator is a solution. So I think all what we are talking about, what they are going to do, what they are not going to do, what they are going to be, the budgets and their sittings, whatever, is evidently clear enough that is not the panacea to the Anglophone problem. The Anglophone problem is still very fresh. And almost every Anglophone from the northwest and southwest is fully aware of the crux of the matter. It's not who is public conciliator. It's not who is in the regional council. It's not whether we have regional councils or not, decentralization or not. The matter is still very raw. The government have not even started to look into the matter. It is still very fresh. The violence, the explosions, 5 years after, has it reduced or it has skyrocketed? Remember, these guys started with what? Peace plans. The population started with peace plans. They moved to what? Then guns. with machetes. Later on, they got some locally made weapons and all of that. They move now with the AKs. Now they are in explosives. Nobody is safe now. Nobody is safe. How do we detect that? How do you resolve this now? They have got the technologies to produce their own weapons. I think it's high time we propose again. Why the government is struggling with this hocus pocus system actually, they should engage in a diplomatic, high-level diplomatic negotiations with the guys who are responsible of the unrest in the northwest and southwest. I think we should not be able to point that all this thing is not solving the problem. It is not. Insofar as the guys who sponsor what is happening down there are not talked with. This is just the truth about it. There's no other way we can go about it. They are bent on creating a state within Cameroon. They call it the Amazonian Republic. They call it the Southern Cameroons. Now you don't talk with them. We are creating things. The people
I want to believe that I don't want them to succeed anyway.
No, the people we are putting to solve the problem cannot solve the problem. All those guys who are in the regional councils cannot resolve this problem. Who listens to them? In the Southern Cameroon, who listens to them? We just talked about the names of the people who were appointed. Who knows them? I think we have to be able to point that they were individuals if they were appointed.
Madame Dorothy Ataba was regional delegate for basic education in the Southwest.
Who knows her? Is that a figure? Is that a popular personality? Popularity in terms of people identifying with you, not even being known. I want to define popularity at the angle of people identifying with your deeds, with your character, your image, who you are. Like not you being known, because we have public figures who are well known.
Can you give us an example?
People don't identify with them. Unfortunately, most of those who Southern Anglophones identify with have died. Unfortunately, I say most of them have died. Like Christian Cardinal Toomey of blessed memory who just passed on. Like Chief Mukete. I think that's somebody within the ruling party, if he was appointed, people will listen to. I think people will listen to. I am telling you, frankly, that people will listen to. Some are still there.
Like
there are so many there. I don't want to call them. I don't want to be private to people. Okay. They are there. They are out.
Okay, we shall.
Not these two. Not these two. These two will anger the population.
They are very unpopular.
Yeah. They are very, very. In fact, they are not the same.
And that is the problem that we have in this country, Mr. Claxon, because the right people are not always put at the right places. Okay. And that is what is bringing us to this quagmire that we are today. That we are today in the northwest and the southwest.
We shall be moving on to our second topic, but before we move on to our second topic, the time for us to have the roundup of news of the week with Anne and Umeko.
The June plenary sitting has started with all senators present, with government ministers led by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. John Gute, members of the Diplomatic Corps and some foreign diplomats for the 2021 legislative year. During the session, the Senate President Marcel Nyadifengis stressed lengthily on the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and called on the continuous sensitization for Cameroonians to get vaccinated against the COVID-19. Senators were reminded to use this period to exercise constitutional rights of voting laws and controlling government actions, as well as to pay special attention to the budgetary orientation debate which falls within the framework of drafting the Finance Bill of Cameroon for the 2022 financial year. The recognition of the Anglophone crisis as a problem to be looked into was tabled. Simon Tamfufai and Dorothy Atambong Epus Motaze have been appointed as the very first public independent councilors of the crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Their appointment followed after the presidential decree on Thursday. Dorothy Atambong Epus Motaze for the Southwest region, 61 years old, is a retired professor from Menji in Lebialem division in the Southwest region of Cameroon. Another is Simon Tamfufai, 66 years and a retired engineer in petroleum geology and a native of Tanku, a locality in Dongamantum division in the Northwest region of Cameroon. They all have as tasks to be responsible for examining and settling disputes between users and regional and council administrators. They also have to protect the rights and freedoms with regards to the relationship between citizens and authorities in those parts of Cameroon. Cameroonians will henceforth be using the biometric passport beginning July 1st, 2021. The simple modern and civil aviation international passports will be made available unless the concern is physically present, verifications of original documents, photographs and fingerprints are taken. The other stages include online application, processing, production, and feedback to the applicants on time, as declared by the Secretary General at the Delegation of National Security, Dominique Bayer. He assured the press that the production partners, INCN Agentic Consortium, is one of the best in the world for the job and will entirely fund the 10-year bill for this to be successful. Very important is the fact that these passports from a problem-free application will be issued within 48 hours at a cost of 110,000 CFA francs and paid through mobile money or credit card. And now in education, official examinations for the year 2020-2021 academic school year has begun nationwide. The baccalaureate and the GCE ordinary and advanced levels have effectively started under strict respect of COVID-19 barrier measures to curb the spread of the deadly pandemic among students. The students undergo check before entering their exam halls to avoid some students from bringing harmful objects into the examination halls that can lead to bloodshed, disrupting the examination process. Both French and English subsystems of education are going on well under tight security. And out of the country, the Boko Haram leader under Abubakar Shekau have been confirmed a death. This was revealed through an audio recording to be the voice of the leader of Rahman Group, the Islamic State in West African province, is what Abdul Sal said. According to this audio recording, Abubakar Shekau died by detonating himself through explosive after a battle between two groups. Abubakar took over as leader of the Boko Haram group after the late leader who died under custody. The Islamic group has caused a lot of havoc in Cameroon, Chad and Niger with the aim of creating an Islamic state under the Sharia law. Unfortunately, more than 30,000 people have been killed and over 2 million people displaced from their homes.
Up of the news with Anne Omeko. Well, we shall now be discussing the National Assembly with the Anglophone problem. It's true that during his opening address, the Speaker of the House actually recognized that there was an Anglophone problem that was, of course, very serious, and that government was taking it seriously. But the question is, why are MPs very reluctant to address the issue? But before then, let's have this report. The report. The June session of Parliament for the 2021 legislative year has opened with a reminder that the Anglophone problem continues to be of a major priority to Yaoundé authorities. 2016-2021, 5 years now that the crisis has brought untold hardship to the people of the Northwest and Southwest regions. Speaking this Tuesday during the opening of the June session, Honorable Kavayege Jibril did not fail to say the Anglophone crisis was important, just like the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The Speaker of the House recognizes the problem as a major issue, but why 5 years after it is yet to be addressed in Parliament? The People's House, despite several calls from the main opposition political party, the SDF, a national dialogue has been organized. Resolutions taken yet not applied. President Paul Biya has created a commission for bilingualism and multiculturalism in an attempt to solve the crisis. Officials have gone down to Boya and Bamenda, still no positive results. Is it not time for the people's representatives, the MPs, to table the issue in the People's House, which is the National Assembly? Should parliamentarians continue to wait for more destructions, more killings, more kidnappings, more sufferings before addressing an issue which is no longer an Anglophone but a Cameroonian problem? For how long should we wait, honorable parliamentarians? For how long should we wait? The June session has opened. I'll begin with you, Anong. Anong, we just followed the reports. The MPs, they recognize that there is a serious issue, but why are they still failing to address the issue in Parliament, to table the issue in Parliament?
it's a sad situation that 5 years running, we have 180 members who represent the four corners of Cameroon to make decisions and resolve problems when they come up. Unfortunately, they have never ever discussed it. That is enough proof that they are not free. For if they were free, they would have talked about it. The oppositions have tried. I think we could remember a bit one time when Honorable Wiba Joseph from the Bui constituency took to the washroom and sounded the problem loud and clear, and I think and prophesied what is happening today, that if this problem is not arrested now, you will not know Cameroon in the few weeks or months or years to come. This is it is happening. I think the game should stop. The game should stop. Even though one of the reasons we can't blame the parliamentarians so much. One of the reasons is because of the system in which we are working in. We're in a presidentialist system where all powers, everything is in the hands of the president.
Are you saying the MPs they are powerless? The MPs?
They are powerless. They are
despite the fact that they are representing the people?
They are very powerless. They are not MPs per se.
Who are they?
We are not in a parliamentary system.
Who are they? Who are they?
We are practicing a shadow system of democracy.
They are not MPs. You are saying that they are not MPs.
They are members of
parliament.
They are members of parliament with a word of mouth. What actions have they done that proves that we have representatives who put people's problems on the table and address it and debate over it and talk about it? Look at the routines that go on. They come in, they vote the budget, they talk about the budget, and then they share their grants, get their sitting allowances and disappear, get back to the communities, intimidate people, make their influence and all of that. Problems come up, they don't talk about them. They don't talk about them. Why have we not talked about the Anglophone problem? Why? Why has it not been addressed in the Senate? Why has it not been addressed in the National Assembly? Because the magic instructor have not instructed them to do so. They are rubber stamp. I want to say that it's a rubber stamp parliament. Why? They have not in any way proven that they are representing the people. Look at the killings that are going on. People took the opposition in their minority, took to the pulpit and tried to disturb the parliament. They should talk about it. The swallowing majority of the ruling CPTM could not allow it pass. We are now begging them as individuals, not even as parliamentarians, as individuals, that they should start identifying themselves like many others who have recognized that we are first Cameroonians and we love this country. I want to talk here as a true recognition, like Prof. A lot of people never enjoyed when sometimes they took to the studio to talk about Cameroon. Why? Because they sometimes forgot the party barrier and citizenship authority that they own. But over the years, like Prof. Senator Mlamoki, like our senator who just passed on, Chief Mukete, like there's one here, the name is gone over my memory. They now speak for Cameroon. They defend the party, defend the ideologies of the party, but they still have in the memory that they are Cameroonians and they need to serve Cameroon the truth. Now our parliamentarians, we are now appealing to them that insofar as they have this party barriers, party towing the lines of the party rules, party disciplines and all of that, let them remember also that they are representing a people. They are representing people, and the people are identifying with them. They know them, they are seeing them. They know everything. The day will come. The day will come when some of them will not be able to speak, even in the quarter in a bar. Why? A child will tell you, Master, get out. Get out. A day will come. You are talking like Nelson Mandela. Okay. Linus Otoko, MPs.
I will not hold the line with my fellow co-panelists of the other side. I won't hold the line with him. If parliamentarians are not talking about the issue, they are not excused. I always tell my friends and siblings about this issue. I like Cameroonians because they have a very short memory. If parliamentarians are not talking about the issue, it is not the cause of the presidentialist system. I'm sorry. Do they have the power to launch parliamentary inquiry commissions? Clarkson Tabi, let's take our mind some years back. What let Minister Mushipu Seidu in prison was a parliamentary inquiry commission at the then Ministry on Post. It had nothing to do with the President of the Republic. If they are not talking about
inquiry lodged by the SDF, of course.
Yes, and if they are not talking about the Anglophone problem, it means it's a choice they have made.
The majority.
We heard or we saw, for some of us who were in Yaoundé, parliamentarians touring the streets of Yaoundé with their banners and their regalia, questioning their remuneration, questioning an increase, questioning their bonuses. They were beaten by the police and all the like. At the end, did they have it, Mr. Tabi? Oh yes, they did have it. So if parliamentarians want the Anglophone problem to be tabled, my friend, it will be done. It is simply because, first thing, all of them live in Yaoundé. They don't have small houses, they have big ones. You will see internally displaced, they have quarters in their residences in Yaoundé. So to them, they don't deem it necessary. Is it a problem? It's for them. It's for others, it's not for them. As long as they live under the AC, the enjoyable conditions in Yaoundé, they don't deem it necessary to talk about the Anglophone problem. At least we heard of Chief Mukete some time ago talking about it in Parliament. Talking about it. So if they want the issue to at least to have that importance.
Are you saying that the parliamentarians, they are selfish?
The parliamentarians, I don't want to call the cat by name, but we know what they are. If I have the power to raise an inquiry commission on something that will push the government to sit and talk about the issue, and I don't do that, am I helping the government? So I don't want to tell you what parliamentarians are doing, but at least we all know what they are doing. They have not done that.
So they are powerful, but they are claiming
to have their hands tied.
Toothless bulldog.
They are claiming. It's like the UN telling you, okay, I will not send a peace army in your country simply because we don't have fuel in our jets. Is that an excuse? No, let's be serious. Let's be serious here.
Yes, Prince Epia Ejide, you just listen to Linus Otoko. What is your take?
Mr. Clarkson, I will begin by saying that they are not even toothless bulldogs because they are not even backing. Because they know that if they back, they will not give them contracts. Because all what they want is to lobby for contracts and then build these sophisticated houses, and people are dying in the northwest and the southwest for 5 good years now. I want to say that, Mr. Clarkson, it's a shame to this country, and all these parliamentarians need to leave that office because we don't see what they are doing there. I'm telling you the truth. No, people cannot be dying every day. We are seeing killings, kidnappings, burnings, frustrations. People are living in the bushes, unemployment, everything. And you people sit here in Yaoundé. What you know is to lobby for one contract or the other, for one minister's door to another, and to lobby for contract. But the real matters to be put on the table, you cannot put.
And they are there to represent the people.
And they are there to represent the people. That is why I want to say that before I even arrive to what I want to looking at the representation itself. Let us first of all look at some parliamentarians who tried to push matters. Let's take we by 2016. War would have been evicted in this country if they would have listened to Honorable Weber Joseph. But what did they do? Where is Weber today? Who can tell? Where is Weber? He became an enemy of the state because he wanted to tell them that what you people are doing. I take from the words that my brother here just said, his famous word, that when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. And that is what we are seeing today in the northwest and the southwest. It did not end there. We saw Mbandam in parliament. Mbandam also in parliament with his famous song, "Oh, you go kill retire, oh, you go kill retire," with his famous song in parliament. But this government could not still heed to that. Which support did they have from the other parliamentarians who are of the of the CPDM class? So you see that we have a problem of representation itself, because that is why we are saying that the way the elections have been, the electoral system.
Are you blaming the MPs? Are you blaming the MPs for not standing up?
The MPs are there in parliament. Let me tell you how these things function. Do we even have? That is why we even question the caliber of election that we have in this country. The caliber of people that represent the people in this country. Do we have elections? in itself? Do we have the real people that represent the people? They are just there because a minister said, "I know this person is my ally. Let's put his name here," and then they see how they rig the elections, and then for them to support and to suit their whims and caprices. So that is what is happening. If you look at, tell me one MP who is not a contractor in this country. Tell me one MP who is not a contractor in this country.
So they are businessmen.
Some of them, their names are even in the some of them, their names are even in the COVID-19 scandal, the COVID gate. Some of them, their names are there in the COVID-19 scandal. That is how they have decided to purge Cameroonians to live in poverty, to live in penury, to live in starvation. So, Mr. Crise, what I'm trying to say that for me, I don't think we have any credible MPs in this country, especially those that are in the National Assembly.
So it's not a matter of presidential system.
It is not even a which presidential system. What my brother was saying, he was very correct. If the parliamentarians know their functions, if the parliamentarians know their duties, they'll push the president to the wall to take decisions that will push this country forward. They are not doing their job. Tell me what action that the parliamentarians have taken in this country that have made the president to take a decision. No, Mr. Crise, is very, very important.
No, it's very important. We're coming back to you.
Mr. Crise, the televiewers should know that we don't have real representation in parliament.
Okay,
and that is why we are saying that the electoral code should be revised so that we should have correct people that represent the Cameroonian people.
Professor Elmon Bilowa, you just heard the three. What is your point of view concerning the MPs?
No, I mean, parliamentarians don't do their jobs. They don't do their job. I mean, putting aside the crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest, can you remember a problem that the National Assembly has tackled? Not one. But elsewhere, when the country is facing a problem, parliamentarian can summon a minister. Come and tell us what we are doing. Parliamentarians can set up a parliamentary inquiry.
And so, the resignation of ministers involved.
Exactly. You know, the thing is that, like all of them said, parliamentarians are there to control the actions of the government and to have laws passed. But there is a huge conflict of interest because parliamentarians who are supposed to control the action of the government are going around seeking contracts from the same government. And consequently, they are not independent. There have been calls for a parliamentary inquiry about the Anglophone crisis. Wilba, Mbandam, even CPDM parliamentarians. I remember the parliamentarian from the Ocean Division, Oyono. He asked for the issue to be tabled, to be tabled on in the parliament. But unfortunately, the majority refused. Parliamentarians should be independent. They are even independent. But they don't want to act on that independence because they are not working. All right? They are only interested in what they gain.
The contracts.
On the contracts, their huge salaries, and so on and so forth. They are not working. They are not doing anything. And parliamentarians in Cameroon, we have said it times and again.
If they are not working,
they are a disgrace. They are a disgrace. Yes. No. We have said that time and again. They are not working.
They are not working.
Because
who to blame if
parliamentarians themselves. Parliamentarians themselves, because they can take any decision and the government could not do anything.
Simply follow.
Look at what is going on with the COVID issue. Okay, funds were given to the government in order to fight the COVID pandemic. Normally, Parliament should have set up a parliamentary inquiry, and they should have summoned up in front of the assembly those ministers who get the funds, and we don't know exactly what they did with these funds. They should summon them up. They should come and explain to the people of Cameroon what they did. But what are they doing? They are just waiting.
They themselves are involved.
They are just waiting for the audit bench to conduct inquiries. But the audit bench is a part of the executive. You understand? So much so that it is difficult sometimes to have a very good audit because they are part of the inquiry. Even the departmental ministry in charge of audit is also part of the executive. So what are parliamentarians, what are senators, what are MPs doing? That is also part of their job. That is also part of their job. It seems to me that it would have been possible to have an objective point of view on this matter if parliamentarians had done their jobs, if the audit bench had done his job, and if the ministry in charge of audit and control had also done a job. Okay? But right now, we are going to have only the opinion of the government, the opinion of the executive, because the audit bench is a structure that is part of the government.
Please, before
you
this,
understand?
Before this
so it is very obvious that MPs and senators have failed the people of Cameroon.
Okay, MPs and senators, they have failed the people of Cameroon. That is the Professor Edmond Bilo was speaking.
Yes, I just wanted to mention one thing here, which is very important for the televiewers to know that the parliament can promulgate a bill to the president of the republic for him to send a bill to the president to promulgate it into law. When the president of the republic doesn't promulgate it into law, the parliament, the president of the National Assembly can promulgate it into law without the president doing it. I mean, the Cameroon, I teach it in class.
That's what the law says.
That's what the law says. The president has 15 days to promulgate it with. When the president doesn't do it, maybe because he has his own personal interest, the president of the National Assembly can't do it. So in a nutshell, I wanted to say that the parliamentarians in this country have a lot of powers. Okay, their powers, they don't use them. That's what I wanted to say.
They have a lot of powers, but they don't use them. I see
those powers are on papers. They have these powers. Everybody has powers. The principal in school has powers. The director has powers. The policeman on the street has powers. The SDO has powers to resolve problems, and we have peace and program. I go back to say that we start resolving a leaking house, the house that has a leaking roof, from up there. Not from where the bench is, the bed is, the books are, the shit that no, you would have control this water here and all of that. I'm saying that the problem is a systems problem. It's a systems problem. Let us examine the process. How do we have the parliamentarians we have there? If you live in Cameroon, we have lived in Cameroon for over 30 years, like myself, following up elections, following up our democratic systems. How do we have them? They are handpicked. They are handpicked. Even in the opposition, they are handpicked. It's better in the opposition that, at least even though they want to handpick, you must be a substance. Let us be honest. As a civil society, we have to speak this truth. Within the opposition parties, there are substances that are sifted before they go for the competition. But within the ruling party, within the regime, the real people who have to come up from the base to go to parliament, they are not accepted. Why? Because they are those people who are courageous and bold enough to tell a minister the procedure of things. The people who are courageous and who are intellectually upright to tell the executive that no, this is it. They know what they will do when they go to parliament. They know how they will use this power that they have as a body, as an institution. They know how to make use of it. Now they come and pick some hand clappers and some gate scratchers and then take them there and then keep instructing them. You will have this project of that market. You bring 30% here to the minister or to this. You have this, you do this there. We don't see them even coming back to give feedback to their constituencies. How many parliamentarians have gone back to give feedback to their constituencies? Are we aware that that's a right the population have been starved of? To come back after a session, after a session in parliament, you go back to your bases, have sessions, call the communities, the executive, the commoners come there. Explain to them the working session how it went there. Which bills came up? What are the new things? There are bills, some good bills that came sometime, unfortunately rather, within a very limited percentage, that the public is not even aware of. You didn't realize at one moment that they have adjusted this and that, and it was already long promulgated into law, but the community is not informed. Now we are saying that we should arrest the system. What I mean by arrest is that we should do our analysis, our checks on the system. If we adjust the system, everything finds its position where they are. Look at the professors in the university. Look at the atmosphere where they teach. Look at the offices of the professor. I want to count the several times I went to prof's office. It doesn't befit an office of a professor. Who is a professor? This is a general. This is a military general in the academy. These are generals in the academy. But get to the military barracks or get there to Cathedral where military guys are captains. See their offices. Go to Nigeria, my neighboring place where I go frequently, and Ghana. Get to a doctor's office. Get to a normal teacher in the secondary school's office. And then come back here. You will understand there's a systems issue. It's not the parliamentarian is weak.
So
because
what are you telling MPs?
We are telling MPs that they should be honest. They should just be honest. In fact, their hands are tied. Their hands are tied. They cannot do anything now as we speak. The MPs cannot do anything. If God doesn't help us to instruct the leader of the executive, to instruct the parliament to do what? Launch this. It will not go. Look at what happened with the glissement, the 2021 CAF.
Which if we are not careful, we'll still have a glissement any of these days.
There is no glissement.
No, if we are not careful, there shall be no glissement. No. If we are not careful, it's very important.
There is no glissement.
We are not careful.
You see, it comes back that we have been caged. Cameroonians have been caged. Cameroonians have been caged up. Everyone has been caged up by a system. It is a system that has caged everyone. Nothing can work. Have they ever voiced anything on that glissement? It has died a natural death, hasn't it? It has. Now, if not of IMF, the COVID game would have passed. It would have passed unnoticed. It would have just gone like that. So we need an aider. We need somebody to come in from somewhere to start looking at where it is leaking, that roof. If we don't block that water there, I swear.
So the MPs cannot solve it.
They cannot. The MPs cannot. Their hands are tight.
Okay, their hands are tight. It's true that their hands are tight. Do you share that opinion?
I remain on my opinion. I see
We are concluding on this second topic.
below our Clarkson Tabi. Parliamentarians have powers.
Yes, they have.
And I'll even go the extra mile. They know their powers. At the communication unit of a ministry where I work, I've accompanied the minister in commission at the National Assembly and at the Senate. Precisely the November session. I can tell you it is at times very hot for some ministers.
Exactly.
Because there are no cameras. But when they come out in commission, out of commission, that is in the general debates, in the plenary,
because cameras are there.
Cameras, they will not
They stop talking.
I can tell you, it's at times very hot. They ask, I'll tell you something. They asked the Minister of Sports during the November session that, okay, today you are telling us you need budget because the AFCON is there, African Nations Cup is there. But now, did you bring us the balance sheet of how you used the budget of that December? I can tell you the minister entered at 7 in commission. He left the commission at 11 p.m.
With what effect?
No,
You
probably don't know it. It's going to have an effect.
I'm giving you that
and that
detail.
minister is likely to lose his position.
I'm giving you that detail to
Because
show you how
everything that
hot-
goes on in parliament is when goes upstairs.
I'm giving you that anecdote to show you how
Yes.
hot it is at times.
Yeah, it's very hot.
Did you know that the November session for the Minister of Public Health was so hot that he had more than 5 hours indoors? For something that usually happens in 1 hour, before we could talk of COVID gate, I bet you they know their powers.
They have powers.
Let's be
They have
honest.
a lot of power.
They know it.
They have a lot of power.
They are playing the dishonest. I said I will not call that name here. When they go into plenary, they know that they can launch an inquiry commission on the Anglophone problem. They can go down to the 2 regions.
Don't you think
To
that an
identify
instruction is
what has
coming
come
from
down.
somewhere that they should hold with that?
I will tell
They are
you.
still managing the matter.
I will tell you, my
The
fellow.
executive is still handling the matter.
I will tell you, my fellow.
He's not yet in the position for parliament to
There
come
is
in.
no instruction.
Because we know the result if parliament actually gets in.
I will tell
We
you.
know what
the
will come out of
instruction.
it.
Let me give you another anecdote. As a young journalist, I used to cover activities of the Parliament, National Assembly. And any opening session of the plenary, we used to have members of the court. They will not attend. Their chairs will be empty. I remember it was a June session. The Speaker of the House of Assembly said, before the next session, I want every member of the judicial system on this bench. My friend, the November session, they were sitting there. Everybody, from the President of the Supreme Court down to all the magistrates, they were sitting. What powers does he have? He knows his powers.
Yeah, you know.
The president of the National Assembly has too much powers.
Yeah.
He could not talk for personal reasons. He's not
So what is the advice that you are giving to
the
MPs?
advice I'm giving to MPs is please be honest. Use your powers. We know you have it. Use them.
Concerning the Anglophone problem?
Yes.
MPs with the Anglophone problem?
MPs with the Anglophone problem, I say let them be honest. Let them speak it out.
Yes,
Prince Ejede,
yes.
1 minute because
Yes, Mr.
we are concluding on the second topic.
Yes, Mr. Tabi, it has been 5 years now that the MPs of this country have never tabled the Anglophone problem on the table. Then they are coming now. It's a shame. That is the first remark I want to make. I want to say that there are many. Let me take for example like Chief Mukete, who gave proposal, because the question you are asking now is for us to look at the solutions. Yes, to the Anglophone crisis. They gave proposals. I mean, Mukete, from Mukete we are talking, it was a big week of the CPDM party. In Senate, he talked of that if we go back to a federation, it could be a solution to this country. No, Mr. Tabi, it should pass. We have also, during the major national dialogue, one of the members of the Politburo, Sultan Bombo Joya, said the same thing. Reading it, said the same thing. What are we afraid of? Why is it people afraid? Why are people afraid? Why are people afraid for a federation in this country? Because we need autonomy. People need to be autonomous, and that is why you see that is the issue. That's why you see the parliamentarians don't have that autonomy, because they have been in a. If you look at the system very well, they are even being appointed. They are just covering.
I want us to stay in the topic.
Yes, we are in the topic.
The Anglophone problem, MPs. What are you advising the MPs, please?
Advising the MPs
concerning the Anglophone problem.
As of now, the MPs, the casting of the MPs in this parliament that we have cannot solve the Anglophone crisis. Let us be truthful to ourselves.
Okay.
They can. So, from our advice, is for the president of the republic to take his responsibility for the Anglophone crisis to be solved. We are waiting for the MPs. We have failed. We know that in the next election, we'll be going in the next election where the electoral system would have been revised, where those that will come to represent their people will be the real people.
If we are waiting for the MPs to solve the Anglophone problem, we shall never solve the Anglophone problem.
They cannot solve that. For me, I'll instead tell them to relinquish power.
Okay,
that's what I'll tell them.
Are you equally asking them to resign, Professor Edmond Bilowa?
No, I'm just asking them to do their job. They are not doing their job, actually. They are not doing their job. They are representing themselves. Okay, I have the feeling that MPs are very selfish. MPs and senators are very selfish. They should be representing the people. I remember Bernard Fowler was teaching at the university when I was a student, and he said one day that people who are supposed to represent the grassroots people, they are representing themselves. They are the Yaoundé bourgeoisie. That's what is happening now. A lot of ministers don't represent the people behind them. A lot of parliamentarians don't represent the people behind them. They are part of the Yaoundé bourgeoisie.
Exactly.
But that should not be the case. Parliamentarians have a lot of power. If they were to put some pressure on the executive, things will change. Because right now, the executive gets pressure from outside, from the civil society. Parliamentarians are idle, they are not doing anything. They should do their own share of the work, and the republic will be okay.
They should do their job. That is the word of Professor Edmond Bilowa. Can we move on to the third topic? But before we move on to the third topic, please give us this report on the passports. The report.
It will be simple, modern and civil aviation international passports that Cameroon will offer from July 1, 2021. The 4 stages required include physical presence, verification of original documents, photographs and fingerprint. The 3 other stages are online, including online application, processing, production and feedback to the applicant in real time.
The new system will not only make the Cameroonian passport more secure, but also simplify and modernize the procedure for issuing the said travel document.
Sitting in for the Delegate General of National Security was the Secretary General at the Delegation of National Security Police Commissioner Baya Dominique. who assured the press that the production partner INCN Authentic Consortium is one of the best in the world for the job and will entirely fund the 10-year build, operate and transfer project with the daily passport production capacity from 1,500 to optimal 2,200.
Commissioning of this new production system will thus put an end to the difficulties currently encountered by users in the process of obtaining passports. The service provider must in particular finance the entire project, construct and equip the buildings, then equip the enrollment centers, which will all have the latest generation of fixed and mobile enrollment kits. They have also to deploy the new system in all national sites in the various diplomatic missions of Cameroon, train DGSN staff in the management of the system, and renew all material and equipment in the 9th year of operation before transferring the system to the state of Cameroon.
He underlined that passports from a problem-free application will be issued within 48 hours. The price of the new passports from July 1, 2021 will stand at 110,000 CFA francs paid via mobile money or credit card.
Is the last sentence of that report that is quite interesting. That is 48 hours, you have a passport, and the price now is 110,000 francs CFA as from the 1st of July. Is it laudable? It's not landable. It's not landable. Where there is N should be U. Laudable, not landable. Okay. So 48 hours to have a passport, 110,000 francs CFA.
It's good news.
It's good news.
So the 48 hours issue, if only will be respected, that we will have, you can have passport 48 hours after applying for it. But before that, there is a very serious question. I think we need to go back there. It's like, before a woman gets pregnant, the woman must meet a man. You don't produce a passport in Cameroon without having an identity card. There is a serious issue with identity cards. I think we need to resolve that issue before this passport issue. Cameroonians are going through pains on daily basis in the hands of gendarmes and in the hands of police officers. If the government doesn't handle this issue of national identity card, I think this good news will not make use. There are a lot of people who will not be able to own a passport because they don't own an identity card. They apply for identity card and stay for months and years. They go, the superintendent of police will change it time and again. They will sign on these people until they are signed on some people's own until there is no space for the superintendent of police to sign anymore. What solution has been provided for that? And I think we talked about this one time, and there was a debate on that even. And we heard that it will be resolved, and within 3 weeks, and so you don't find it, you call a number. You call those numbers, they tell you a time. Appelez à la semaine prochaine. Ce n'est pas encore arrivé à notre niveau. Et il y a un problème. Vous avez double identité. I am a born Cameroonian.
A bona fide one.
A bona fide one. Who tells the truth on how my country should grow? I don't own an identity card. My parents are all born from this country. We don't own an identity card. Now you see, there are so many things that push some of these guys even go carrying these things and find, because some of them have struggled at all levels. I travel a lot. I'm brother. You need to see what happened with Cameroonians on the way with the policeman and the gendarmes. I want to ask if the Delegate General on National Security is aware of this crisis of national identity cards. I think that is a more pressing issue than the passports. We have that because the common man, the most common person in our community is affected by that. You have all grown-up mothers who the only thing they need an identity card is to travel. They're not applying for any jobs. They're not traveling out of Cameroon. They're not going to look for passport for anything. They don't have identity cards. And you see the way some of the gendarmes handle them in the most brutal manner. They'll ask an old mother of about 60, 65 years to sit down because the mother has not presented what? An identity card. I say that the 48 hours is good news. The amount is enormous. It's exorbitant if you compare the price of passport in other countries.
So we go back to say that we should.
It's very expensive.
Let Cameroonians, those who God and this nation has given powers into their hands to man the affairs of our nation as a family. Before they make those decisions, let them think about the average Cameroonian. What is the price? What is the salary barem for the lowest person in Cameroon? 36,000 francs. The highest civil service is, I think,
so 48 hours is okay.
It's good.
110,000 francs.
It's enormous. It's too much.
No, it's
Take
very,
the price of neighboring countries.
very high.
Soon they say we are speaking for other countries.
In Benin, in Ivory Coast, it's 40,000.
It is like twice that.
I mean,
twice.
110,000 is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot for the average Cameroonian.
Mr. Tabi, I'll even come with a precision here, because I screenshotted the various stages of production. It does not say handed to the beneficiary within 48 hours. No. This is what it says. Production après enrôlement, s'il n'y a pas de rejet, le document est produit. Production in 48 hours. No handing to you. Okay. How long will it take you to enroll first and for your candidacy to be validated before they can produce? Question. How long will it take after the production to reach to you, the applicant?
So what I said, Linus, after 48 hours, if I go there, I will not take my passport.
You will not take. They produce in 48 hours. They don't hand you in 48 hours. They produce our IDs. I don't know in how many hours. I don't know how long it takes for them to reach to you. But I know Cameroonians who have been having recipe for 2 years.
110,000.
Waiting for IDs.
I have a guy whose own there is no place for the superintendent to sign again.
That is
prolongate it.
Mr. Tabi, that is the one. That's the first problem. Because when I read this thing, my first reaction was too good to be true. I know Cameroon. Second thing, I'll raise a topic, an issue here that a Cameroonian of blessed memory raised. Why do we always have colonial mentality? What comes from abroad is the best. I remember how Thales identification manhandled Cameroonians here to produce our national ID card. But the same Thales produces the same document cheaper and faster for French people in France. Let's be serious at times. Let's be serious. The second thing, you saw me flapping through my phone. I discovered that the person in charge of producing bank document and identifications in Germany, for Sierra Leone in Africa, for Ghana, and for South Africa, did you know he's a Cameroonian? And that he does that within 24 hours.
For producing what?
Producing national IDs.
And passports.
And bank cards.
And bank cards.
For Germany.
In Ghana.
Yes, for Germany. For Ghana. For Sierra Leone and South Africa. He's a Cameroonian. I was so shocked that I screenshotted it. I'm still looking for it. I'll give you his name. He's the president general manager of the structure. Why don't we trust our fellow citizens? It is so shocking. Today they are giving you the name. I don't want to tell you it's not a Cameroonian company, the name he gave, but I can even put my hand on fire and you discover it's not Cameroonian. We know that game. Let's stop it. Let's learn to trust our fellow citizens. They even do it best for other countries. It means they can do it for us.
Prince Jede,
Yes.
110,000 francs for passport. Is good news or is bad news?
Well, what I would say is that I don't too much have a problem if the 110,000 is too much or not. The government could use it as a means also maybe to raise revenue. But the question that I'm asking is, this money, where does it go to? How do we manage this money?
Question.
That is the problem, because we realize that such money is always being swindled, mismanaged, and at times misappropriated. I want to say very well that I have a special respect for the police. I know most of my friends are police officers. Yes, I know that by the following, but there is a problem at that level that I'm saying. The problem, we have other things. The national ID card that Sir Anang here made mention of is something which Cameroonians are frustrated today. Mr. Clark, if I tell you, my national ID card, I went for to renew my national ID. It made 6 years.
Despite the fact that I have friends who are policemen.
My brother, what can they do? what can they do? So for me, I see that the government or the police or the government or the police should make sure that Cameroonians have their national identity cards. They should fasten it that Cameroonians are in dire need of their national identity cards.
ID cards before passports?
ID card before passport is very, very correct. The ID cards before passports. How can you go and make a passport where you don't have a national identity card? You cannot make a passport. How can you make a bank transaction to have that 110,000 where you don't have a national identity card? So it is logical that the national identity card should be prioritized before the passports. And the passports, if they say they want to produce it within 48 hours, maybe the sense of that law, sir, is that maybe the thing that they can give a common Cameroonian maybe within 48 hours. But what you are also saying is correct. We don't think that they can give it within that 48 hours.
There are 4 stages
exactly
here.
within that 48 hours. But now,
Stage 3 does 48 hours production.
If Mr. Clarkson at all, it is coming within that 48 hours, it's also coming to solve a very big mafia. Let me tell you, there is a big mafia at the level of delivering passports in this country. Cameroonians are not even paying by this 75,000 francs you are looking at is not what Cameroonians are even paying. There is mafia. Before this 75,000 francs want to reach for the stamp, Cameroonians, this policeman has taken this amount of money, this one has taken this amount of money. We have seen even police people who are in prison just because of passports. I know people they'll tell you that a passport express, Express, I beg your pardon, Transport Express, 300 000. So if this 110,000 is coming,
and the state doesn't know about it,
and the state doesn't know about it, but I want to tell you that the police know about it.
Yes.
Because the police, Cameroon has one of the highest investigative security in Africa.
Okay.
So they know what is happening. So if this 110,000 first, Mr. Classen, is coming to solve that issues of Passport Express, the mafia, and all whatnot, it is applaudable. And also if this money should be accountable for Cameroonians, for also to develop Cameroon, to raise revenue,
okay,
I believe it's also applaudable. Okay. But if it is for it to go into the hands of thieves, then I believe that it is not well thought of.
Okay, Professor Bilowa, your take on this? 110,000 francs
no, it's
for a passport?
It's very expensive for the average Cameroonian. It's very expensive. Because if you go to countries like Ivory Coast or Benin, it's 30,000, 40,000. Okay? It seems to me that Cameroon is not poorer than Ivory Coast. Yeah. Cameroon is not poorer than Benin. The other thing is that I agree with Linus. You see, when we talk about passport production, passports are produced in the divisional capital, no, in the regional capital. Okay? So if you are from the center here, right, and you are in Akonolinga, you cannot get a passport from Akonolinga. Okay. You have to come to Yaoundé. Okay? The farther away you are from the capital of the region, the longer it takes for you even to get to the capital.
And more expensive.
It is even, it increases the expenses.
Expenditures.
Okay, so it is very, very difficult to believe that for the whole of the Cameroon, they will do it in 48 hours. The other thing is that if we want to modernize our country, in some countries, like in the US, my daughter was born in the US. She was born in Washington. And when she was born, she was delivered a passport. You see? She was delivered a passport. An American passport. And then she was delivered a birth certificate, of course. Why can't we modernize our state to the extent that when the child is born, the child gets a birth certificate, a national identity card, and then a passport. Okay? And when the child grows up, after 10 years, they can change it. All right? We have to modernize our state. Very soon, maybe in about 10 or 20 years, everybody in Cameroon will be longing for a passport. But if you get the passport when you are born, it will be a lot easier. Now, we can also make sure that right from the subdivision, the division, and the capital of the regions, we can have all these things done there. That is, if you are in Bafia, you can get your passport from Bafia.
No need to come to Yaoundé.
You don't have to come to Yaoundé.
That's the centralized system that Anong has been talking.
If you are from Kupe Manengumba, you don't have to come to Douala. Right? Okay. We can Boya. You don't have to go to Boya, and so on. And if you are from the Njan division, you don't have to go to Boya, and so on and so forth. So we need to, to modernize our country so that but all these things encourage corruption. All those things encourage corruption because somebody who is farther away from the capital of the region and he wants the document fast, he starts distributing the money and so on and so forth. By so doing, the state is losing the money, the citizens is losing the money. It's not good.
Okay, Prof, we say thank you for coming once again, Prof.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you
for inviting me.
Thank you equally, Anong. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
It was very passionate, and I hope that some of our friends will not get very mad at us.
Okay, thank you once again. Thank you once again for watching the program, The Republican Debate. It's on this note that we put an end to this program. Take another appointment, same time next week on the same channel. Till then, we say, may God continue to bless the Republic.